What's up, teammates? Welcome to another episode of the Goal Diggers Youth. Here we discuss stories of leadership and motivation with sports serving as a metaphor dedicated to daily grinders, go-getters, and everyday athletes. Tune in to know more about how your favorite athletes use sports to improve their personal lives. Back on the board, my name is Robbie De Vera.
And I'm Zanella Bajarias, and we are your resident goal diggers. To recap the season so far, last week we had Pauline Lopez, the Queen Eagle, as our guest in the first episode. She shared with us all about the importance of taking a second to breathe, reflect, to learn to hold all your hard work and sacrifices above your success and achievements, and so much more. So if you guys haven't watched it yet, be sure to check out our Facebook, Spotify, and YouTube channels.
But for today, we have with us two amazing and decorated student athletes who truly push the sport of swimming forward. First, we have SACHO Illustre from Salle University, a palarong pambansa and UAAP MVP, and 2019 Southeast Asian Games silver medalist. SACHO recently competed in the 2021 PSI Swimming Nationals Selection Bubble, where he won multiple events like the 100-meter butterfly and freestyle, among others.
Yes, but wait, there is more, because today we also have with us Chloe Daos from the Ateneo de Manila University, who is a three-time UAAP MVP. She is also a Moro Lorenzo Sportswoman of the Year awardee, which is an award given to Ateneo athletes who have shown excellence in their sport. You know, these and all her other numerous achievements are topped by her consistency in being a Dean's Lister. Similar to Sacho, she recently competed in the 2021 PSI Swimming National Selection Bubble and won third in 100-meter freestyle and beat the existing fastest record for the 200-meter butterfly.
Everyone, Gold Diggers, please welcome today's guests, Sacho Illustre and Chloe Daos. Welcome, guys. Good evening.
Hello,
Hi,
good
hi,
evening.
Sacho.
Hello, good evening.
Hi, magandang gabi sa inyong dalawa. Thank you so much, guys, for being with us. It's super exciting. Today I just want to ask, the pandemic, a lot of us have been doing a lot of different things, doing a lot of new things, actually. So what have you guys been up to lately? Sachi, maybe we'll start with you.
Yung nag-start yung pandemic, for me, I thought kasi na parang it was just gonna be weeks or like a month at most na no classes. So for me, parang it was an extra month of summer. So parang during that start ako, parang nagbe-bake ako, tapos naglalaro ako video games. Tapos nung more than 2 months na siya, more than 3 months, I tried to gain weight. Kumbaga, I counted my calories, tapos I tried focusing on strength and conditioning. And then now, recently, I've been trying to build the business, yung Take Your Mark, my shirt. It's a swimming shirt, and then I tried investing sa cryptocurrency.
That's cool. Parang ang dami mong ginagawa in the summer, in what? It's a 2-year summer. The way you put it.
Yeah,
It's a 2-year summer. Tell us a little bit more about those that apparel business that you said you just launched.
Well, yung Take Your Mark is the brand name. So, yung flagship shirts namin, one of the flagship shirts, it's color white. I actually have it here. Here. It says Take Your Mark, and then the slogan is basically start strong, finish stronger, and then yung isa is gold standard. Parang inspiration for the gold standard design is my mom, na parang there's this one time during palaro na right after my 400 freestyle na natalo ko. It was my first high school palaro. And then natalo ko, I was silver, tapos pinapagalitan niya ako in the cool down pool na parang dapat daw manalo ako, mag-gold ako sa 200-meter butterfly. The next event, right after that event. So yun, parang sabi niya dapat hindi pwedeng umuwi na hindi gold.
I like that origin story is right there.
Yeah.
Oo. May pinanggalingan talaga yung ngayon like what you're doing in the pandemic right now. So that's an interesting take on it. Thank you so much, Sacha.
What about you, Chloe? What's up?
Well, similar to Sacha, I actually thought that the pandemic was only going to be a week. But then for me, during that time, it happened around March. So that was kind of like midterm week for Ateneo. So during that week, I was really busy, like catching up with schoolwork, catching up with my studies. But then after that, like since it was prolonged, like I started to have more free time because yeah, we were just at home. And like Sacho, I also started my own business. So for me, my business is all about bread. It's basically an Instagram shop that sells mini chocolate chip banana loaves. So personally, I really love baking, but then I never really had the time to do it because I am a full-time student athlete. So I've always been busy with schoolwork, with swimming, and so much. And the pandemic really gave me the opportunity to work on my business. So yeah, that's what I've been up to recently.
It's great no,
That's
because we start to realize our passions definitely after all of this, right, during the pandemic. I just also want to ask, like, how long have you been baking, Chloe?
Well, I've been baking ever since I was a kid. Before, I used to do it with my mom, so it's been a couple of years already. But then lately, like as I grew older, I started baking on my own, and as I mentioned, I started my own business. So I started last August 2020. So that's when I first launched my business. So it's been a little over a year right now, and currently we're doing a bit of our like Halloween promotion, Halloween mini chocolate chip banana loaves, and yeah, it's been really busy. So that's what I've been up to.
we totally didn't plan this, but we're wearing orange and the background is orange as well. Very timely for Halloween. But yeah, good to see some enterprising athletes as well. So thanks for sharing, you guys.
Yeah, and you know what's it's interesting as well because you guys have been touching on a lot of things that you've been very passionate about, right? Since you were younger. But now I also want to know, what are you guys training for currently? Chloe?
So currently the goal is to qualify for SEA Games. So as mentioned earlier, I think we did join the national bubble just recently, and there's going to be another qualifier. I think early next year, around January or February, which will also serve as a qualifier for the SEA Games. So as of now, that's what I'm training for, and eventually, hopefully, the SEA Games will take part in May.
Can you share with us a little bit, Chloe, on how competitive it is for trying to make it to the roster for the SEA Games? How is it like right now?
For SEA Games, well, for swimming at least, it's actually super difficult because the qualifying time is based on the medals or the medalists from the previous edition. So in our case, it's the 2019 SEA Games edition. So you have to reach the bronze medal time in order for you to qualify. But then there's also another thing called the qualifying time B, which is a bit of an adjusted time, if I'm not mistaken. And that's another option for you to qualify. But it's really competitive because you're not only competing with local swimmers, they also take into consideration other foreign swimmers, so other like Phil-Ams or Phil-Australians and other foreign swimmers.
That's great. That's great. At least like you guys are beating like a baseline or a standard, right? So I guess that meant like hard work in this, pandemic, no?
Definitely.
Cool. Thanks for sharing. So, what about you, Sacho?
Actually, I wanna add din po yung sa QTV lang, ng additional detail lang na yung QTV for the SEA Games is actually yun yung top 8, I think, for an event po. So yung top 8, yun yung what their time was, yun yung QTV that they set for the qualifying for this 2021 SEA Games. For me naman, hopefully kasi there's an upcoming competition sa Abu Dhabi this December, and then actually yung SNS bubble, the swimming national selection bubble that recently concluded, that was mainly for qualifying for this competition. It's a short course worlds in Abu Dhabi. I don't know yet who's gonna swim, but hopefully we get in. And then another is yung 19th FINA World Championships in Fukuoka. So this recently concluded bubble was for that, qualifying for that po. And then same as with Chloe's 2021 SEA Games, hopefully. There's another qualifying competition by January, I think, or February. And then long-term goal is 2024 Olympics.
It's definitely very exciting, di ba? Ang there's a lot of things that you guys are looking forward to starting this year. And we already have like talked about how difficult and competitive it is. This sport is in general, right? Especially right now. So I just want to know from you guys, and definitely your gold diggers would want to know, what is your mindset once you're training? When it comes to preparing for these important competitions, there's a lot. And what is the mindset that you're thinking about when you're doing this? Sacha?
For me, I think yung the best is thankfully we just had this competition, the bubble meet, and during those events, during those swims, parang I finally felt again the lactic acid, the soreness of my muscles kapag the last 15 meters, the last 25 meters. So parang with that in mind, parang reminding myself na that's how I should feel whenever I train. Or that's how I should feel whenever I'm trying to go for best time or a PB, parang ganun po. And then I guess the other thing is to be able to do it take it day by day or like step by step, like keep going at it, parang ganun po.
And again, it's a great idea, diba? Like thinking about and I liked how you talked about the soreness of your muscles. I kind of want to talk about that as well. How does it feel? How does it fuel your want to continue with this sport?
Well, considering that I almost quit, parang I kind of want to leave a legacy within the sport po. Parang I kind of want to leave a mark. Actually, parang medyo yun din yung brand name eh. Kaya take your mark po. Parang ganun po. Kumbaga, I want to leave a mark in the swimming world, kahit here locally in the Philippines po. So yun lang. That's the goal. Kaya I wanted to like continue swimming.
Thanks for sharing, Sacho. So, what about you, Chloe? What's your mindset when it comes to preparing for these important international competitions?
Well, for me, it's always just about trying to give your 100%, trying to do your best. And it doesn't necessarily mean having to get like the fastest time all the time, but then trying to perform and give your 100% effort, because every day your best is going to look different. Sometimes you're going to be in a good condition and sometimes it's going to be a little more difficult. So trying to still continue every single day despite sometimes being tired or sometimes having other things going on is really what's important for me when entering the competition.
I like that. So, I mean, let's go back to how Sacho said na it was a little bit difficult on the onset because nga he thought it was an extended vacation or a break, and then almost quitting, all the way to leaving a legacy, and then you as well. So this pandemic has been really challenging all of us, right? I mean, but case in point, both of you have performed really well in the recently concluded tournament. So given we were in the middle of that pandemic, we can only imagine that the conditions weren't the same. So what was the training like for you guys? What did it take?
Well, for me personally, I think the training was more limited because during the start of the pandemic or like during the ECQ lockdowns, we didn't have an access to a pool. Nobody was allowed to train outside, so that really like forced us to be creative in how we train. So I think for us, like we did resort to online trainings or Zoom sessions and even land trainings at home when we couldn't swim yet outside. So I think that was one of the things that we did in order to cope up and keep up with this pandemic.
It's great that, also in the pandemic, our resourcefulness is being seen, diba? And that's something that we've seen right now. But also I want to know, how about you, Sacho? How have you been managing with training?
Well, for me, it's all about making the most out of it. Parang before the pandemic, parang medyo may parang may attendance may push, like from my dad, for example. He's the coach for DLSU, so for example if he goes to training, I have to go as well, parang ganun. Right now during the pandemic, it's like a personal decision. Every day you have to make that personal decision na I have to go to training today, I have to I have to do better, I have to do good, parang ganun. I have to perform. Kasi at the end of the day, parang meron talagang goal. So yun lang yung lagi kong kailangan tignan whenever I have to make those personal decisions.
You know, I like how we talk about now, how it's a personal decision. It's something that we choose to do, right? Out of the love for it. So yeah, it's great that we talked about that as well. How this is now something that it's a sport that we're doing because it's something that we intentionally want to do.
So, I mean, I want to dig a little bit deeper on for that particular point, no? So, parang for you to give your, as Chloe has mentioned, 100% all the time. What does it mean for you guys? What do these competitions mean for you? So maybe let's pick your brain a little bit first, Chloe.
For me, I think it's just a good opportunity to showcase all the things that we've been working on and working for the past months and even years. I think like through the competition, you can really see like your efforts come to life. Because sometimes like without a competition, it's hard to stay motivated. It's hard to see the like results, as I said, of your training. So I think that's a good opportunity to see where you're at as well in terms of your technique, in terms of your times, and yeah, pretty much.
What about how about you, Sacho? How does it mean to you?
Same with Chloe, it was a measurement like yung recently concluded na competition, the bubble. It was a benchmark. Kasi the reality is, even if we're in the pandemic right now, internationally, we're very far behind it. Parang even na parang may restrictions here, yung mga athletes, yung mga swimmers abroad, they can swim, they can. So parang right now we have to really make the most out of it. And yung performance nung the bubble, during the bubble, it was a parang, what's this? Parang yun yung nagpa ano sa akin ng reality na okay, I have to do more. I have to give more effort, parang ganun.
I like that. So, I mean, there's a lot to read into it because, you guys are speaking athlete speak, right? So, like lactic acid, all these things, giving 100%. But basically, what I heard from what you guys shared and what I liked really was how you guys appreciate that, you see the value of the efforts that you put into it. And I think that speaks about how you have discipline in the way you try to approach things. And then it also speaks on the consistency of doing those hardships that you have daily to get where you want to be. Right. So, yeah, I think that's what I got from that particular portion of our question and answer so far.
Yeah, and thank you so much, Chloe and Sacha, because those are actually words for the wise, nuggets for snacks that our viewers can see. But now I also kind of want to dig a little bit more, into the value of how you train, of this sport for you. Because you have established now that, there's so much that you've gone through, not just the pandemic, but before that, and right now as you're training. And now you guys are two of the most accomplished swimmers in your age group. But I want to know, personally, what particular event in your life has really tested you, and how did you get through that? Chloe?
For me personally, I think it would have to be trying to qualify for the Youth Olympic Games. Firstly, because it was during a time wherein I somewhat kind of lost my passion for the sport. I think I started really early. I started at the age of 3. So by the time that I was qualifying or trying to qualify for the event, it was really a struggle already for me. Like somewhere along the way, I kind of lost my passion, and trying to battle that while still wanting to qualify was a really big struggle. And second, I think it was a very challenging time as well because the standards were really different and very difficult. Like I did qualify at QTA, but I still wasn't able to compete because we were only allowed to send one swimmer. So I think personally, like mentally and spiritually, that was kind of a very difficult part on me. So it was kind of hard to take. But then eventually, like, I learned to use it as a motivation to get better and to work on the things that I still needed to do. So I use that as an inspiration to work better, to work on myself more so that I can perform better in the future.
That's great, no? Looking back and all your experience at all your experiences as well, and that passion now as you use as motivation, right? I just also want to kind of add a little bit of a question. How did you grasp at that passion? Like while you were losing it slowly, how were you able to grasp it back?
I think what I did was I really tried to like take a step back. I tried to see it from a bigger perspective because I think at that time I really got so caught up on trying to just improve my times. I got too caught up in the work that I forgot why I was doing it in the first place. So I just went back to why I wanted to do it and why I started it in the first place. And eventually and slowly, like my passion started to come back again.
That's great. Looking for a final cause, why are we doing this? And that's something that we should always remember as well for anything that we do. And now I'd also like to ask Sacho. You have an illustrious, such a decorated background as well in swimming and in the game, but there was a time that you almost left the sport altogether. So can you share with our audience or goal diggers right now about that time in your career and tell us what you've learned about it?
Well, it's very similar with Chloe. But in a way na parang we both had a plateau na weren't really performing well. And then I think my tipping point was yung it's a heartbreak story actually. When I was in high school, I think I was 17. What's this? So basically, I was heartbroken, and I during that time then I wanted to quit, and that heartbreak was the tipping point. So a funny story actually, my mom got interviewed during Palaro, and she didn't know she was being interviewed. And then there's this one article na I think Rappler, she was quoted na she said na I could have performed well during that meet if only I wasn't heartbroken. Parang ganun. So, even before that, actually, I wanted to stop swimming. And then that happened. And then, I think I took a break like a year and a half. And then, there came a time na parang I had an acting job. Luckily, parang yun yung parang start nung time na yun, 2019, I had an acting job in Japan. I worked with Japanese Olympians. So parang from there on, parang I got inspired a bit. And then I was parang kinausap ako ng mga cousins ko, ng coaches ko na I should try out for the SEA Games that year, 2019. And then buti na lang I was able to qualify for the team. And then one of the people, or actually two people na naka-help sa akin big time is Aldo and Kuya Jess. They're both from Ateneo. They were, I was with them during my Australian swim camp. And then they were able to actually teach me how to enjoy the sport, to enjoy, the grind. Na parang even if it hurts, even if I have to wake up at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. in the morning, parang it's something that I can enjoy. So parang yun yung that was a journey na I think until now I'm very thankful that I have na whenever I have to as I mentioned, make that personal decision, nasa isip ko pa rin na it's all for a goal, it's all for my goals.
Ang ganda nun. I think it's one of the things that you have to remember. Sometimes we do take a break. And I just want to ask Ren, within that 1 year period, was there like a particular moment na parang, I think I kind of want to come back to this?
Actually, no, parang really at the end of it, yung Japan acting job lang talaga yung nag-inspire sa akin. Parang yun lang yung, kasi I was exposed to an Olympian there, that Japanese Olympian. He was national record holder during his time of my event, the 200-meter freestyle pa. So parang yun yung nag-push sa akin na maybe I should try again, especially now na this year is the 2019 SEA Games. I'm not gonna lose anything naman. Parang nothing's gonna happen naman if I don't try or try, diba?
Tama, that's great. And with everything that Chloe, Sacho, you said, it all I believe, boils down to the idea that we have to be resilient, right? This is something that, you know, pain exists, it'll happen, but we have to move forward. We always do. And that's the great thing about this, because also for us now, it's so easy, especially in the pandemic, diba? It's so easy to lose sight of what we want. It's so easy to lose sight of what, and to lose motivation actually. But for this segment in particular, what I loved was that we have to recall and we have to remember to look back, to take a step back, remind ourselves of our why. Why are we doing what we do, and why should we move forward with it?
I like that. To finding your why, parang it speaks about how like you need to really deep dive and have that badly put champions mentality, right? So yeah, good stuff from you guys. And you know, these experiences, your youth Olympic experience, Chloe, that heartbreak story, that transition in your life, Sacho. Pwede ka pa rin mag-artista, Sacho. Baka yun yung nakaka-inspire for you. Kidding aside, but you know, these challenges are what made you both the people that you are today, right? So I think one of the most important things as like, you know, athletes and student athletes for that matter, because we both are still student athletes, how do you translate these, you know, important moments in sports for you guys to how you live your life now? Let's start with you, Sacho, since you're fresh off the Zandy's question.
Well, for me, I think one of the lessons I've learned so far is sometimes you have to do things you don't like. Like, for example, I'm a student athlete, so also I'm currently taking up BS biochemistry, and in biochemistry, in chemistry, you have to do math. So math is one of my worst subjects. But I have no choice. I have no choice but to do it. No choice but to do it well to be able to pass the course. So I think it's one of those things that I've learned so far in this, from this sport.
Good stuff, man. I mean, I think that's a great sign of maturity. You know what I mean? Because I mean, you often hear it that people say na, you know, do the things you love so that you will succeed, right? But especially in the athlete's journey,
You can't
people
overlook
fail
the things.
yeah, people fail to see people only see the end, where both of you are already standing at the podium, but they didn't see they didn't see the, you know, the journey, the daily waking up at 4 a.m. to get to the pool by 5, do some warm-ups, swim for a couple of hours on end, sweating in the pool. I mean, that's such a hard concept not to think if you're a non-swimmer, but you know, I'm sure the swimmers that you guys are, you know, you're sweating in the pool. I mean, how do you guys stay toned in swimming, right? So yeah, lots of maturity there in doing the things that you don't like, and I think that's a real part of, you know, growing up, and that's part of the journey to success. I can't help but read into that a little bit more, especially coming from like an athletic background myself as well. Let's go to you, Chloe. So how about you? How are you translating those sport lessons that you have to your life journey right now?
I think for me, it's kind of related to what Satcho said. It's about trying to stay consistent in what you do. Because as mentioned, like, it is easier to do something when when you're in good condition, or when everything is like right for you, when the circumstances are right. But then when things start to get tougher, or when you start to face things that make it more difficult or challenging, it's hard to stay on track. So being able to keep up with those challenges, or with those so-called like bumps in the road, and being able to still continue doing what we do, is such a big lesson that I've learned from swimming, that I think I can still apply to my life right now.
I like that. Now, it speaks about the importance of habits, this consistency that you speak about, importance of habits, because like you said, you know, emotions are fleeting, you know, so one day you can feel the best and super motivated, just like how Sacha felt after his acting stint. Some days you can just feel really terrible about it, right? And then, you know, hard to pick yourself up out of bed. Yeah. So life application, Chloe, how do you do that right now?
For me right now, since my focus is really my business, there are some days that I really do get tired because my business is about baking and sometimes it's kind of labor intensive. So I do get really tired as well. So trying to still continue doing what I do because I love baking and I love making my customers happy is something that I'm trying to do, like starting to still be consistent with what I do.
I like that, and I also like the what do you call this? The entrepreneurial spirit. Yeah. So trying to win in another arena, so to speak, and this one, and trying to win with your what do you call this? Your recently launched business. I want to go to Sacho a little bit about that. So how do you apply what Chloe has said with regard to what you learned in sports?
Well, that's this. Basically, being consistent. I think yung for example, kasi I have goals like with business. Like what Chloe said sa business niya, there are times na parang sobrang gusto kong gumawa ng or mag-invent na or ma-market yung products ko. And then parang there are times na parang I just want to lay down. So yung keeping at it, being consistent, parang it takes a certain amount of discipline. And I think it really helps. Now, for example, actually, I have this whiteboard. My mom actually, and my sibling, si ate, tawag dito, tinatawanan nila ako kasi I told them na this whiteboard will help me remind me my goals, my for example, my school stuff, yung parang, so I think that small whiteboard, parang yun yung mga stuff na parang small thing lang siya. It will help me be consistent.
Yeah, totally agree, man. I mean, it's like, the concept of a vision board, and the way it works is like it triggers our, consciousness to, recall what's important, and then, draw your attention there so that you try to accomplish it, right? So yeah, good stuff, man. Sorry, I'm hogging all the questions. So Zandy, you had a question?
This is actually very interesting, Ren, because as a student myself, diba? And there's a lot of things kasi na we want to do. Like, we're very passionate about a lot of things. And I remember someone saying before that, passion doesn't necessarily make things any less harder. It just makes it easier to do. So that's one thing that I love, taking from what the both of you have said. But you guys have gone through that period of for Chloe and for Sachi, you guys are entrepreneurs right now. You guys have also gone through the period of being students, and on top of that, as athletes, as incredible athletes, if I say so myself. So, what advice can you give the youth of today? The generation that exists now, who are trying to balance all of these out? Maybe we can start with you, Sacho.
Well, aside from yun nga po, what I mentioned, na you have to be consistent, you have to keep going at it. For me, actually, I just realized that I was a part of a good community. Like, it was one of the reasons why I was able to come back. Like, I have people messaging me, you should try out for the SEA Games. I have people messaging me, you should train with me, you should come with me, train with me, parang ganun. So you have to look for that community. You have to be social, basically. Parang you have to have people around you, like your family, your friends, your teammates. You have to have those people around you. You have to keep them close to you because they will be the ones who will bring you up when you're down.
The essence nga of a support system, how important that is. Because sometimes also if we forget to give ourselves that slack or the things that we want to do, they're the ones who remind us of that. And also now I'd like to ask, what about you, Chloe? Is there anything that you'd want to give as advice?
Well, I actually also agree with Sacha. Having a good support system is really so important, be it in swimming or anything in life. I think personally, like, there were so many times wherein I felt I didn't even believe in myself. But because the people around me believed in me, that's when I started to think that, I can do this. And eventually, like, I was able to do it. And I think another piece of advice that I would like to give is probably to be patient with yourself. Like, know when to be kind and know when to push yourself. So there are days that you really have to push yourself so that you can get better, you can get faster, stronger. But there are also times that you need to be kind to yourself, because there are times that you're gonna go through some things, be it personal or other related matters. And those are the times that you need to be patient with yourself, and you need to slowly be kind, because if not, you're really gonna have a hard time. So yeah, just be patient with yourself and know when to push.
That's when you realize the rest is also productive.
Very.
Yeah.
Actually,
And
if I may add po,
yeah.
yung rest, it's one of the things na parang the gap year that I had. Parang after that rest talaga, it proved to be real helpful kasi now I just really want to swim or be able to train.
That's great, man. That's also where we get it from. It's an incredible thing. Rest is a great gift that you give to yourself. It's not always that you have to push through with things. So yeah, so Robbie, I think that resting. I think also for you as an athlete, resting is also very important.
Yeah, I mean, proper rest will ensure better performance, 100% performance the next time around. And Sacha brought it up earlier on the lactic acid. Very, very technical, I mean, for athletes, but yeah, totally get you. Coming from a football background myself, totally know the impact of cramps, yeah, to our training. A lot has been said, you guys, and super important stuff that I think your batchmates, Gen Z, should be hearing. I'd like to hear a little bit about how important now, because both of you have become different people in this pandemic. 2 years, almost 2 years has gone by, and look, you guys have now become, in Sacho's instance, another refreshed athlete and an entrepreneur. And equally, Chloe has become an entrepreneur herself as well. So let's talk about the changing roles now, especially coming from collegiate, transitioning toward post graduation, especially since Chloe recently graduated. What's it gonna be now like for both of you now, given that you are now transitioning toward, badly put, real life? What's next? How important is it now that your mindset for that transition? Maybe Chloe, you wanna start with that one?
I think it's also important to find something outside of swimming. Like currently, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm focusing on. But then I also have to be prepared for life after swimming. And I think that's what I'm doing now. Same as Sacho. Currently, we have our own businesses. But eventually, for me personally, I plan to go into corporate. So that's something that I'm also working on. So that I have other things to do apart from swimming and aside from swimming.
That's cool. So I mean, you've touched on your business, but what's your plan now? How do you intend to breach corporate? What's your next steps?
Of course, applications. So I'm gonna apply to some companies. Yeah, I'm interested in the FMCG industry, so I'm trying to go for companies there. And then hopefully, if I get accepted, I can slowly venture my way through the corporate world.
That's great. I mean, as an experienced professional as well, I definitely agree that it will bring value to your life. And what I can also say is that definitely the values that you earned from your sports career will definitely come in handy and actually even give you the upper hand. Yeah. So, best of luck there. Meanwhile, Sacho, how about you?
For me, I agree with Chloe. We need to have an outlet. For me, my outlet is video games. I think even if at any age you need that outlet, like a hobby or your passion maybe. For me, my plan is to actually hopefully graduate on time, because currently we're having problems with my laboratories because we're not allowed in school. So the the school or the university is trying to work that out. And then after after graduating, hopefully I'm gonna focus on training for the 2024, and then maybe that's when I can decide, because I took BS biochemistry because before I wanted to try and take up medicine. So now I'm having like second thoughts. So maybe after the 2024, if I qualify or not, maybe after that I can decide if I want to still pursue medicine. But right now, as a student athlete, with my business at Take Your Mark, I'm trying out how to promote a business. Basically, parang I'm trying to collect experience right now with businesses because after maybe if I don't pursue medicine, yun ang goal ko to create businesses ko.
That's great, and I like how you have multiple options up your sleeve. And I think maybe just to contextualize for our audience, when Sacho says 2024, I believe he means the Olympics. Yeah.
Oh yes po. Yeah, Tokyo
Yeah.
Olympics. No, Paris Olympics actually.
So yeah, I mean, we wish you all the best there. Of course, definitely, we need as many Olympians as we can get, and then hopefully also you also succeed with the other endeavors that you just mentioned. So we've had a great discussion so far, you guys. So really appreciate it. And at this point, maybe allow me to hopefully summarize what I've heard and learned from you guys this evening. Yeah. So I was taking notes, and from what I gathered this evening are the following. So I think, especially in the many life challenges that you have come across, especially within your age group, you did mention that discipline and consistency are solutions to success. So you've seen how both Sacho and Chloe have brought their the discipline that they bring to the pool out to their alternative careers at this point. And secondarily, what I gathered was have that champion mentality, right? So Chloe touched on it a little bit with about pushing yourself to be stronger, faster, and better with regard to the sport and even with the career. But she also did mention to be kind to yourself and to be patient as well, because it will not always go your way. And what's important is that you have that positive mindset. And I think most importantly, this is what I really like also, have a good support system. That's what they both mentioned. And I think from maybe as an input from my end, one of the key factors to one of the shortcuts to success is actually having a great support system, especially having a good mentor. I think having a good mentor, like shortcuts the process, because your mentor brings in the experience that they have gone through to hopefully not allow you to have the same errors, right? So yeah, I mean, super solid stuff, you guys. It's definitely you both are more mature beyond your years, and I think that's really the value of sports.
That's great. You know what? It's very exciting now because we have these little nuggets of wisdom that we can remember. And something as a mentorship, the best way to learn is to learn from others' mistakes. But there we have it, you guys. But we're not done just yet, because we have our next segment. We want to get to know you guys a little more, a little better. But because this next segment, we call it Crunch Time. So Sacha, Chloe, we are going to throw you some questions and you're going to have to answer them as fast as you can. No need to explain, and speed is the name of the game.
Yeah, but before we begin, thank you everyone for joining us in this session. We'd like to remind everyone who's watching or listening to like us on our social media pages. So subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Spotify at the Gold Diggers PH, right? So, okay, so Chloe and Sacha, are you guys ready?
Yes po.
Yes.
Okay. Maybe I'll go first, Zandy, then you take it up next. So ready,
All right,
personal
all right.
record for gold medal.
Personal record.
Personal record as well.
Okay, sprints or distance?
Sorry?
Sprints or distance?
Distance for me.
Distance.
Arenas or speedos?
Oh, arena.
Favorite stroke?
Freestyle.
Butterfly.
Oh,
Favorite
butterfly.
cheat meal?
French fries.
Big Mac.
Okay, 50 meters or 100 meters?
100 meters.
50.
Favorite lane?
Main. 4 or 5.
Yeah, any lane in the middle, lane 4 or 5. Yes.
Okay,
I was hoping for
green,
the fast lane.
green or blue?
Oh, green.
Let's
Next.
make it quicker. Let's make it quicker.
Blue.
Green.
Choco na gatas or gatas na choco?
Choco na gatas.
Okay, gatos na choco para iba.
Ayan, sige. Mahal
Let's
mo
go.
o mahal ka?
Mahal mo.
Chloe?
Mahal ka.
Okay. So crunch time is up, but let me put in the last question first. So maybe let's start with Sacho first. Favorite quote?
Favorite quote? Actually, luck comes with hard work. The harder you work, the luckier you become.
That's great. I have we also had that in my football days back in the day. Shout out to Coach Ompong Merida. He said, "Luck favors the prepared." Yeah.
Yes.
So how about you? How about you, Chloe?
For me, it's don't let success get to your head and don't let failure get to your heart.
Love it. Zandy?
Gusto ko yun. I'm gonna put that in my brain for the rest of the evening tonight. I think that's something that we often forget as well. Don't let success get to your head, and don't let failure go to your heart. And also, I also remember a quote before called "Fortune favors the bold." So I think now there's a different thing that we have to put into that. But you know what? That's it for crunch time. We've gotten to know you guys a little bit more, and we have now come to the end of the episode for our final messages. So, Sacha, maybe you have something you'd like to say to our viewers, to anyone watching?
I guess I would like to thank PSI, Tita Lani. I would like to thank DLSU, Tito Lawrence. I would like to thank Arena, Happy Sports, and then Milo. I guess I would like to thank my teammates, my parents, my siblings, and my girlfriend, Pao.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sacha. And of course, thank you to your support system as well. Chloe, over to you.
For me, thank you as well to PSI and Tita Lani for giving us the opportunity to compete recently. Thank you to my family, my friends, my coaches, and of course my teammates for always being there for all the support. Thank you to our viewers for watching us tonight, and thank you so much as well to the Exemplar team, Sir Robbie and Zandy. Thank you so much for hosting this and having us as guests.
Thank you so much, Chloe. Thank you, Sacha and Chloe. Thank you guys for being with us.
Yeah, great stuff, you guys. Shout out as well to PSI Lani, and shout out as well to the Milo team. So thank you. And that's all we have for this episode, teammates. Thank you. If you enjoyed our content, there's more where this came from. Catch up on all of our past episodes on Facebook, YouTube, and our Spotify channels. And feel free to send us your suggestions for the guests that you want to see. Also, be sure to like, follow, and share, and subscribe on all of our social media pages.
Yes, and that ends this week's episode. Watch out for our next episode featuring multi-awarded athletes and siblings, Agatha and Seb Wong. Catch you on the next episode of Gold Diggers Youth, where your game is our game.